there is a bit of panic there at the polls that we're seeing. You could see in the fact that there's been quite a few policy announcements over the last few days that they know that something is going quite badly wrong and they need to turn it around. But in terms of conference overall, I doubt it's really going to cause any opinion poll to shift massively in their direction.
I mean, conferences, let's face it, they have one primary objective, that is to raise money for the political party in question. That's what they're there for. I mean, if I was to characterise the mood of Scottish Labour just now, I'd probably say united but anxious.
Yeah, and it's absolutely no wonder they're anxious. A few months ago, they're riding high in the polls. Anas Sarwar's got Butte House in his sights, and I think he's beginning to look like a guy who knows his chance of becoming First Minister is slipping away. I think some of the stuff we've heard from them this week, which I know we'll come to, is reeked of desperation, to be honest. The problem he faces is that this isn't just, they're not losing support to the SNP, because the SNP aren't gaining any support. The SNP are flatlined, but they're losing support to reform. It's a kind of elephant, the big massive Nigel Farage shaped elephant in the room is reform, and that's where a lot of Labour support's going. On the plus side for him, there's still plenty of time to turn it around. There's so much focus on Westminster that once the focus moves on to Holyrood, moves on to the SNP's management of public services, moves on to day-to-day life in Scotland, I think it'll be much stronger ground. But right now, I mean, I don't think I'd like to be a kind of Labour staffer at the moment.
I mean, I've moaned over the last couple of months that Labour, there's too much focus on the SNP being a failing government and not enough about promoting a positive alternative in terms of policies. I think that will change over the next few days. I mean, I interviewed Anas Sarwar yesterday in this studio, and he was on pretty good form. He said two things of note in terms of policy. One was they're going to scrap peak rail fares, which I think is a bit of an open goal for them, given the way that the SNP government completely mishandled that. But more interestingly, he said that he would love to cut income tax. We know that the SNP have increased income tax across the rates over the last few years. And he also said he wanted to look at what I think is the frankly crazy 50p marginal rate of tax on income, I think between 43 and 50k. So I think there's no doubt that he sees one of the dividing lines in this election as income tax. And I don't know what you think about it. I mean, politically my instincts might not be to cut tax, but I can see that being a really popular move, particularly from a centre-left party that's not associated with that kind of policy. If they go into the election with a promise to make every taxpayer better off, I can see that chiming. I can see that landing with voters. And if I was the SNP, I'd be pretty worried about it.